Happy 4th of July. I'd like to take a few minutes of your time to explain why the Declaration of Independence is the key to remaining free. Why it's the key to staying free. We know that the Declaration of Independence was used to secure our freedom, but I think it's really still the key to staying free. Why do I say that? We need to remember some of the important points of the Declaration of Independence, and if we do that, then this declaration will help us to define freedom and to preserve our freedoms. What are the most essential points of the declaration that we're about to celebrate on July 4th? I know you're going to have a lot of fireworks, but you know what the fireworks are? The fireworks are really in this document. Where are the fireworks in this document? And what are those fireworks that we need to hold on to in order to keep ourselves free? You say, well, I'm already free. I can go to Walmart. I can buy what I want to. I can have an iPad. I'm free. Let's look at the way the Declaration of Independence defines freedom, and let's look at how it helps us to preserve our freedom. Because if you're ignorant about the foundations of freedom, you'll never know how to preserve those foundations for your family and future generations. All right. So the Declaration of Independence teaches us about freedom. What does it teach us? The first thing it teaches us is that in Jefferson's famous statement, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. And the first thing Jefferson tells us is that all men are created equal. Created equal. That's the basis for American society. The old world was filled with aristocrats. You were born into status, landed status. In the New World, a man became, or a man should be only regarded as to who he is as a man. Not how much money he has or his situation in society, but simply as a man. And while you may argue that Jefferson himself did not adhere to his own principles, the important thing about the Declaration is not Thomas Jefferson or the committee that helped him to write it. The important thing are the principles that transcended those men. And one of the first principles is that all men are created equal. This does not mean that all men have to be equal in money, or all men are equal in intelligence, or all men are equal in beauty, but their standing before God is equality. And why do I say God? Because Jefferson mentions the word created. And he continues to say, and they are endowed by their creator, so you see that's a personalized statement. They weren't just created ipso facto by nature, but they're created by a personal creator. And they're endowed by their creator, says Jefferson, with certain unalienable rights. I love the word. Inalienable or unalienable, depends how you see it. But I like the word unalienable. It says our rights are unalienable. Unalienable rights. And that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. But before we get to that, he listed the unalienable rights. What are those unalienable rights? And Jefferson says, here are the rights. All men are created equal, and they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and in his famous phrase, the pursuit of happiness, which originally was property, but just how John Locke said it, but Jefferson changes it correctly, I believe, to the pursuit of happiness. These are the rights that we have been given by our Creator at birth. And all men who are in equal standing, all men are in equal standing, this means women too. All created beings are equal before God and receive a standing of equality at birth. Our society does well to remember that. But we have certain rights that cannot be taken away, unalienable, cannot be taken away. Because why? Because we have been endowed with those rights by a Creator. So therefore, since government didn't give us our rights, government can't what? You guessed it. Government can't take them away. If the government did not give you your rights, the government cannot take them away. We need to remember we have unalienable rights. Government needs to remember that too. Well, what are those rights? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In a nutshell, you have the right to be left alone by government and others to pursue what you think is the best life. To have a personal freedom. To pursue, to chase after your own dreams. The entirety of man is here. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To make your own way in life. To do what is right for you in life, but again, that which is not against law, because Jefferson is not going to argue that we have this unlimited right, but that which is right for your being, that doesn't end in hurt or pain to anyone else and doesn't violate the law of the land, obviously, or the law of God. So, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, these are our rights. But then Jefferson goes on to say that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So government gets its rights from the governed. See that? From the governed. Which means this, that all the power that government has comes directly from whom? You. It comes directly from me. It comes directly from the people. We don't get our rights from government, but government gets its rights, gets its powers from the people. And so you see, the real power in society rests in the people, and government rules only by the permission of the people. And it was Jefferson's idea that the ideal society would be one in which these rights are guarded, these rights are protected, these rights are secured. This is the key issue here, and that no one can take these rights away. As we celebrate the 4th of July, I want you to remember that government is not God in our society. That government has very limited roles. And in this document, Jefferson limits the role of government, that the only role of government is to secure these rights, to protect my life, to protect my freedom, to protect my pursuit of happiness. Government can't define what my liberty is. Government can't define what my happiness is. Not in that sense, it can't. And certainly there is law. But the law protects neighbor against neighbor. But the real law protects man also against government. What we have to be afraid of today is losing our liberty against an all-encompassing government. You want to be careful about that. I'm not making a Republican statement or a Democratic statement. I'm not making a party statement. All I'm saying is that if you understand the Declaration of Independence, you understand that the key to freedom is understanding that your rights come from a creator. Those rights are unalienable. They're not an abstraction. They weren't given to you by government, and therefore you're not beholden to government. And that government's true force, government's true power, government's true realm is circumscribed carefully, so that what the government should really do is simply protect our life, protect our liberty, and allow us to pursue our happiness on our own terms. This truly is the definition of freedom wrought in the Declaration of Independence. Again, does that mean there's no law? I'm not saying that. Does that mean that liberty is antithetical to law? No, because order and law are very important, and liberty is your rights within the constraints of that which is right, obviously. But my point is that we need to be careful in our country, that we don't forget that our right is not simply to go to Walmart or to buy nice things or to go to Macy's or whatever store or buy sneakers. No, our right is to be free from the overarching, overextending power of government, local or federal, which will try to dictate what our life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness should be. Remember that on the 4th of July, that the real fireworks in our country rest in the Declaration of Independence. And that is a document that tells us what our rights are and tells us how we ought to protect them against any government that tries to take away these rights. Because Jefferson later on will say that if any government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundations in such principles, and organizing its powers in such forms, as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. So you see what Jefferson was concerned about? Our safety and our happiness. And the role of government was to protect our safety and allow us the framework to achieve our happiness.